Okay, y'all, this YouTube lawsuit's been catching a lot of attention, and I want to use it as an example of how people are more than happy to make money off of your suffering. We know that YouTube was caught for making their application as addictive as possible. Go figure. I mean, people spend hours and hours a day clicking the YouTube algorithm and pressing the refresh page to see if anything has it. And of course, this is news to nobody. We've known this for a very long time. But here's the thing: it's not just YouTube. This is like in general in life. People will be more than happy to cash in on you suffering. It could be money, it could be whatever. It doesn't have to be monetary. But as long as you're losing, maybe a lot of the time it's your health, right? Let's look at like smoking and like alcohol. It could be like McDonald's serving you fast food. I mean, that's like basically garbage at this point. I think there was something funny where like that CEO was like pretending to eat the burger, but he was taking like birdie bites because it was like so nasty or whatever. That was like peak corporate slop, you know? That was actually really fun. Like literally slop. Literally not even like slop in the sense of content. It was like slop in the general sense of like the food was actually like trash, you know? But anyway, getting back to this, we saw that YouTube is going to be paying, I guess, $12 million or something in lawsuits. And, you know, it makes you beg the question, well, 12 million, they're like the biggest corporation in the fucking planet, right? So let's look at this. How much did they make last year in 2025? They made $60 billion. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 60 billion, which has a lot more zeros than 12 million, subtracting 12 million gets you 59,988,000,000 dollars. So really just a drop in the bucket to them. It's not even a slap on the wrist. It's like not even getting a verbal warning. It's like absolutely nothing to them. Right now, I understand that 60 billion is not their pure profit. That's not what they made. They still have like expenses. They have to pay people, all that jazz, right? But overall, this is like, does this disencourage their behavior? Does this disencourage them from doing it, right? Like think about this. If they put in, let's just say $1 million or $5 million, it could have been $20 million to make their product as addictive as possible. If you're only going to find them $12 million and they're making billions of dollars off of this, just from a purely mathematical, like economic standpoint, it doesn't make sense for them to stop doing this. It just really $12 million to them just becomes like a lawsuit expense, and it's not even like a real thing that they worry about. It's not like, oh my god, the court's coming after us, they're going to take us for everything, right? It's like, you know, you just give them, it's like almost like legal bribery, right? It's just like, yeah, just give us 12 million, we're happy with it, right? And the government, what is the government? I could go on that rant. What's the government going to do with $12 million? I mean, they could have made it like $100 million, right? And it's really not going to make that much of a difference either way, right? Problem is not the monetary amount at that point, unless it's a severe, like, if it was like 70 billion, that would get their attention. They'd stop that shit right away, right? Because now they're losing money year by year, right? Even though they control the general public and they have a huge grasp of what we consume with our attention and media. And even then, it would still be worth it. If I was an evil person, I was making $60 billion and I had to pay 70 to keep the general public as dumb as possible. You still make money by keeping them dumb and, like, you know, using like YouTube advertisement, right? Remember, that's just like YouTube's like money alone, right? Like if someone buys the products through like the YouTube link, I'm sure they get a kickback on that, and then you know they make a fair amount of money on that. So, you know, we understand that, you know, if they pay a bunch of money in these legal expenses, right, 12 billion is probably a lot to you and me and the average person, but it's not much to them when they're making 60 billion. It's just like a, you know, rounding error for them, basically. It puts no dent in them to stop their, or to incentivize their horrible behavior, right? And here's the thing, it's not just YouTube. It could be alcohol, it could be cars, it could be like cigarette companies. I mean, those are the obvious vices. Like casinos exist, right? That's a pretty fucked up thing, right? But because they take advantage, like smart people take advantage of extraordinarily, I'm not gonna say dumb, but just, you know, not very like sophisticated life. They make their money off the backs of, you know, total fucking morons. And, you know, I get it. It's kind of fun to gamble once in a while, whatever. That's their thing. But I mean, lots of people do lose a lot of money off that stuff, and it's pretty fucked up. My point is, at the top of the hierarchy in terms of whether it be YouTube, a casino, a strip club, or like a car manufacturing thing, if you don't first of all make them pay enough, then they're not going to give a shit to stop the behavior. And second of all, people are really, then this is really the core of the video, people are going to be more than happy to make money off of your suffering, and they will not give a shit, and they will take, this has been the biggest change, I would say, in my 20s I've had, and, you know, maybe some of you had parents who kind of warn you about this, but I didn't. I'll make a video about my relationship with my parents at some other point, but they didn't really warn me that people are so fucked up and so desperately evil that they will be more than willing to take money from you at your expense, whether it be health, whether it be money. And it's usually not just pecuniary, but it's like it could be anything, and they'll take it through any method necessary, and they won't think twice about it. That's the most fucked up part. When you look at the CEO of who's the guy that died from OnlyFans? I can't remember his name, but the guy died, and you know, he was worth a huge amount, like at least, I think 4 billion. I might be wrong about that, but he was worth some large amount of money that nobody on a salary is ever really going to make, right? And you know, this dude, how did he make his money? Well, he had a bunch of people paying for OnlyFans through girls, right? So he has these girls making these content. He takes like I think 20% or 30% of every sale or whatever, like of all things that are on OnlyFans. And you got a bunch of fucking fucknuts paying for OnlyFans to like see these chicks naked. But he makes his money and he doesn't really. I mean, I guess you technically add value to society, right? It's a transaction, right? I mean, it's the same thing with whether it's like prostitution, alcohol, drug selling. You're technically doing something. You know, it's all consensual. Someone is making money. Someone has a supply or demand and does. Someone does want something that the other person has, and they both exchange money for whatever it is. But it doesn't matter that people are more than willing to kind of fuck you up and make money off that. Right? When it comes to like drug dealers, like think about like, oh yeah, this guy's got a coke addiction. Let me just go make some money off of that. It's pretty fucked up, right? And then you kind of get to the other moral thing, which is like, well, if it's not me, then someone else will do it too, right? That's pretty fucked up. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of scatterbrained here. The main point that I want to talk to you guys about today is people will make money off you and will not think twice about it and will continue to do it, and they will not be sorry for it because you will make them fat cats and they'll be very happy about it. Now, of course, nobody talks about this really in school or anywhere else. They might dance around it in like if it fits their agenda, but in general, people are more than willing to do it and they won't think twice about it. Is this something that I wish I knew earlier in my 20s? Absolutely would have saved me a lot of time and money, but you know, maybe it's like a little bit more of a common sense thing because it's like installed, but like for example, I don't drink. I know it's just bad for me and that's why I'm not going to do it, but like, you know, if you can go, you can make a lot of money in this life by selling things that are really bad to people and bad for them, and you can do fantastic. Look at the pharmaceutical industry, right? That's been like the healthcare in America right now is like it's so unaffordable, and you know it's obviously they're selling you a bunch of shit that you don't really need, and it's going to be at like price gouging, like horrible prices. And do you think that these pharmaceutical companies or people who are like the CEOs at the top are really going to think like, man, I'm getting really rich off this, but maybe I should kind of bring it down, right? So typically, like I've talked about this before, but once you're making your money from your product, you stop really kind of fine tuning it for the most part. Like it takes a lot of effort. Like once you're getting like $100,000 a year, for example, are you really going to look back at it and start like fine tuning it? Like for the most part, maybe you would, but what's the point? What's that point of equilibrium where you're going to stop giving a shit, right? Maybe you're going from 100,000 to 500,000, right? And then each additional dollar you earn like disincentivizes you because you're set. You don't have to worry about it, right? It's other people's problem now, right? It's the same thing when it comes to like alcohol and like YouTube creating addictive shit is, well, you know, I'm making my money, you know, fuck do I care, right? It's pretty fucked up and it's a huge part of human psychology, but the disincentive is there. And we human beings really do respond to incentives and disincentives and stuff like that, you know. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So this is kind of a shorter one. If you're in your like earlier 20s, I hope you take this to heart because it's not just that. It's not like this is like an isolated scenario. This is going to be like in all facets of life, you know. Don't let them hook you. Don't let them stick their fangs into your wallet or your heart or anything like that. But yeah, people will be more than happy to make money off of your suffering, you know. It's very sad, but that's the way it is. And then, oh man, how did I forget this one? War. When we look at war, that's been like one of the most profitable things of all time. Of course, you just have to send a shitload of young men into battle, and you have to live with that on your conscience. But hey, at least you made a shitload of money by arming them with guns, tanks, ammunition, whatever it is, right? And you get to sit in your fat castle without sending your own son on the way to war, profiting from it, and it's a pretty fucked up reality, you know. But throughout history, that's been one of the easiest ones for sure, and especially in the last like century or two, that people can get pretty rich, you know. And all I've tried to do is just arm you with something I wish I had known earlier in my life. It's unfortunate that not everyone has parents who are willing to, tell them that or kind of get in front of that and say like, hey, listen up, this is like fucked up shit, you know. They're just kind of, getting by or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely like a life hack, you could almost say, by learning this shit. So with that said, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.